Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far with the CDL Major 2 in Miami coming up in very short order. Awakening has given his thoughts on various questions, especially who the most overrated team in the game right now might potentially be. He gives his thoughts on that one, but also we have something from iLLeY. Can you believe it? Months it seems now after all the drama went down post-Major 1 when iLLeY was out of the team for various reasons following that controversial interview that happened back in Boston. Now he's actually said something on the timeline for the first time in a very long time. Is this indicative of a potential return at some point? Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, I wanted to mention this aBeZy here. So lots of talk about this. And I had these conversations a fair bit even back in Boston discussing PC versus console. We talked about it yesterday that there's loads of hacking issues in esports right now, everywhere. The Apex Legends stuff was just, I'd never seen anything like that before. We talked about that in last night's video. But as aBeZy says, it's pathetic we're playing on 144Hz. What is the point to switch into PC if we're playing on terrible monitors? Now, you know, it's kind of funny, first world problems, right? We're talking about 144Hz monitors being terrible. But I suppose nowadays the industry standard in some ways has moved on to 240Hz or 360Hz. And there's an argument that does it even matter at that point? Possibly not. The point that I wanted to make though is that lots of these PCs that they actually run for the majors and stuff, especially the challengers players play on, and even this is a problem in other esports, the Valorant pros talk about this a lot, that the PCs they're given to play on just aren't that good. They don't really get many frames. They get 120 frames or something, which is fine, but it's not great. And this is the point, really, that consoles nowadays, I mean, the Xbox Series, which we're probably going to be on if we do go back to console because it's a Microsoft thing now, those new Xboxes can do, what, 120Hz? I'm pretty sure that's true, isn't it? I think they can get 120Hz, or 120 frames a second. So that's not much different to what the pros are playing on the PCs. Arguably very close, because the PC, imagine you set up a Challengers event. You've got hundreds of PCs in this venue. You're not getting, the absolute top of the line stuff that's getting you 300-400 frames a second. You're getting what is reasonably affordable, and it's still very complicated pieces of equipment that can still go wrong more so than consoles tend to, and you're only getting maybe a 10 to 20% performance advantage over consoles anyway, and you get all the problems. To me, it's a no-brainer to go back to consoles personally, because I think they're easily good enough to make it work. But interested your thoughts in the comments below. I know I'm probably preaching to the choir on that one, to be fair, especially on the challenger side of things. Now, yesterday there was a bit of drama about this on the flank. We know how it goes nowadays. We know people tuned in to see what was happening with the abeZy takes after Shotzzy superstar performance in that series up against the New York Subliners. And, well, this is one example right here. Basically, abeZy started off by saying that everyone on OpTic is going to get worse on LAN apart from Pred. And then Octane is sitting there thinking, hang on a second, what are you talking about, buddy? Because, my teammate Kenny is definitely not in that ballpark. And then abeZy kind of backtracks and says, well, actually, maybe Kenny might get a bit better and all this type of stuff. So, it is how it is, and it's interaction farming at the end of the day. Now, there's been lots of reaction to this type of stuff from, for example, from Buggy here. This is no longer the flank. abeZy has turned this show into a gaslighting and FBenJ Asim show. I don't know how we're still watching it at this point, and, no, to be fair, pretty good copy pasta. But still, as Val says, who basically runs the show over there from a production, well, not necessarily production, but, he gets the YouTube channel done and all this type of stuff. He works on Zoomer's content. The video is popping off, right? So this kind of goes both ways. I know people get frustrated about abeZy and the way that he conducts himself on the flank, but at the end of the day, is it delivering the results for the show? The argument is that, yes, that is the case. And maybe you'd say, well, people are going to watch it anyway because OpTic got undefeated, so more people are going to tune in. But, people also tune in because they want to know what faded stuff abeZy is going to say and how people are going to clap back to it. So it is what it is. I just think that it's kind of a natural scenario that I don't think Zoomer is going to reverse. To be fair, every so often Zoomer will say, okay, look, we're going to have a conversation here. We're going to try and figure out a better way to manage this. Just because I don't mind when people go crazy, give their takes and stuff. What frustrates me is just the constant talking over each other. That is, to me, it's quite painful to listen to. But I don't know what your guys' thoughts on this are. So abeZy actually replies this and says, had some time for you tonight. I did in fact make a mistake by saying in my opinion. I should have said in fact. Stats courtesy of Breaking Point. You guys don't watch the games. Pretty funny because of what people say about abeZy. But yeah, online to LAN, MW2 full season, MW3 full season. And these are the numbers so far. So yeah, pretty entertaining stuff. When we get to LAN, I guess we'll see who's right and who is potentially wrong on this one, because it's going to be a big challenge for any team to actually win this event. It is very competitive at the top of the field right now, but this is what iLLeY tweeted out yesterday. At Karma, GG's Bob Lee. So like Bob Lee Schwagger or whatever it is. That's kind of what Karma goes by. And as Karma says, was Bob Lee cooking because it wasn't me. So whatever he was playing, iLLeY, he came into this guy Bob Lee. iLLeY thought it was Karma. It wasn't Karma. And, you know, they had a bit of a back and forth. So just to keep this clear, iLLeY tweeted this out, right? Actually, no, he's deleted it now. No, here it is. I just skimmed over it because he hasn't tweeted anything in like months, it seems. This is what he tweeted end of January when the infamous interview happens. Now, back at Major 1, the feeling was, damn, is iLLeY okay? Then he was just dropped from the team. We don't even know what happened. Is he benched? Is he dropped? We don't know. Seattle Surge don't say anything. Is he suspended by the league? That, I think, is where people's head is now going towards. That it's somehow like a league-done thing, and that's why nobody wants to say anything. I just don't know what the answer is to that. And nobody will tell us anything, so, you know, it is what it is. And iLLeY himself hasn't made any statements about this. This is also the other point. If I'm Looney, head coach or whatever of the Minnesota Rocker, if I'm any head coach of any team that's like 5 through 12, I'm thinking, is iLLeY available? Can we get him? Surge have got rid of him for reasons they won't they won't even talk about. They just pretend that they dropped him basically for performance reasons, although everybody knows that's not the case. Can we get iLLeY? Like, is iLLeY okay? Is it all good? And it's good to see some sort of actual tweet from iLLeY, right? Because, you know, it's tough to say sometimes, like, how he's getting on, you know? There was questions as to, is iLLeY back in Canada? Like, is this guy okay? Is he recovering well or whatever, right? Is Surge helping him with that? We don't know any of the answers. But thankfully, iLLeY's still playing some stuff. At Karma, of course, former, well, he wasn't really coaching OpTic at the time when iLLeY was there necessarily, but, you know, obviously part of that organization. iLLeY was there for some time. There's been questions about iLLeY as well. There's no doubt, really, looking back on iLLeY's time on that Seattle team at the start of the season, this guy was Thanos, you know what I mean? Like, the fact that that team was able to look somewhat reasonable. I still don't like that Surge team. I made this very clear at the start of the season, before the season even began, but I didn't like the way that roster was constructed. But at least with iLLeY, this guy was bailing them out. He was winning them search and destroys. They were getting some Game 5 victories. They got top 6 of the first major. Respectable placings. And now, since iLLeY is gone, yes, they maybe could have found a better option than aBeZy, all things considered, but they have been getting absolutely twerked on, and like, they're not a good team. They're probably the worst in the league. Somehow they, you know, beat the Los Angeles Guerrillas, but I think that's more of an LA Guerrillas problem than it is a Seattle Surge success based on what we've seen over the last week or so. But is iLLeY available? Is he coming back? Like, what's the situation? Because I think there's quite a few teams in the league that could improve from iLLeY's services, assuming everything's okay, post-Major 2. I guess I just don't know whether that's even possible. Like, if the league has got involved on this whole thing, is he allowed to come back? It's just so frustrating that we don't know anything. The good news is, iLLeY seems at least okay, to some extent. I mean, he tweeted 3 words yesterday, so, you know, it's better than nothing, right? And hopefully this is the start of something. Either a return to Surge, like, that would be... I'd like to see it, just to some extent. I don't know what the situation is, but Surge need iLLeY definitely to come back into the team. I think at this point it's like the only thing that I think can actually save them, because I don't know where else you go with that roster with the options that are currently on the market. But yeah, just wishing the best for all involved. Now, speaking of someone that iLLeY could actually replace theoretically, although as I said, I don't think it's going to happen. Owakening has not had a good start to the season. Nobody is denying that. He's had a rough time statistically. That's certainly been the case. And accuracy played very well in Major 1. By the numbers, it's not too dissimilar in Major 2, accuracy's overall KD, but my feeling is that accuracy's impact as an AR has somewhat gone down, in the same way that Lin's, feels like his impact has gone down, despite the fact that he's still playing fine, but it's just not quite good enough. But when those circumstances occur, when Lin slows down a bit, when accuracy slows down a bit, you're expecting your top Slayer on paper to step the game up. That, of course, hasn't happened. Owakening is still struggling. I don't know when they recorded this with Wake, but they asked him several questions. I won't share the entire couple of minutes, but I'll certainly share the start of it, because he was asked the question, just one word answer, who the most overrated team is, and he gives one specific response.
Priestahh OpTic. On my team? Accuracy. Accuracy. Probably a steak. Vivid. Childlike. Lens. Advanced Warfare. I wouldn't say it's weird, but I played baseball for like 8 years growing up, so Yeah, I mean, I think I was pretty good at it. 4v4. Probably accuracy. Vivid. Lens. Vivid. Right now, I think me. Probably last year at the Boston Major when we beat Seattle, which was accuracy, and then we beat LEG, and I think the home crowd, and like I did my first live interview then. I think that was a good moment. My family was there, so yeah.
So I don't know if Awakening's like asking for some backlash here, right? You didn't have to say OpTic, and it's also kind of funny that OpTic, at least over the last couple of years, have basically beaten Awakening, I'm pretty sure, every single time, right? Like when it was on Boston, and of course now he's on the Minnesota Rocker. So far this season, OpTic have beaten them a good couple of times, and yeah, is he right? I don't know. That's a matter for debate. I think always, generally speaking, with certain players and certain teams, OpTic have the most fans by a margin. Do they tend to get overrated as a result? I think that is just natural in any sport. When a team has the most fans, they tend to get, their fans, which are a majority of this community, tend to think, because they're fans of the team, that they're better than maybe they are. So do they get overrated? I think historically that probably has been the case. Are they overrated right now, or whenever that was recorded? I don't know, not necessarily. I mean, they're 7-0, looking like favourites going into the major. Shotzzy's playing like the best COD that I've seen from him since the Dallas Empire 2019 days, pretty much. And the standings are like this. And look, sure, Minnesota Rocker with Wake are still 5th, but I don't really expect that to last. Rocker, by the way, play the loser of the Subliners and Boston in losers round 1. That is theoretically, let's say Subliners win that round 1, winners round 1 series, then Rocker would play Boston losers round 1. Boston took them down recently, right? I mean, Rocker can't win a game 5 to save their life right now. So it seems to me that after this major, this Rocker P5 situation here, 85 points, is not going to last forever. Legion should pass them. Maybe Heretics can pass them. I even think a team like Boston can potentially pass them as well. So I think Rocker are going to come out of this tournament being the 7th or 8th seeds for the World Championship at least. And when you say something like that as Awakening, you're always kind of inviting in some unfortunate GG or whatever to come your way. If they were to play at the major, the way the brackets line up, it's pretty unlikely that OpTic and Rocker would play at this major, but they'll play again at some point. So when that happens, I'll be looking forward to it. But of course, by the time that happens, he might not be on the team anymore, right? Because if they underperform this major, like genuinely, if Rocker get top 12 this major, which they are probably favoured to do on recent results, is Awakening still on that team come the Major 3 qualifiers? Feels relatively unlikely to me. So very much interested in your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.
Yeah, Dread. There's a lot of good players.
Do you still have your ID or not?
To travel?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Unless you're going like out of the country.
Like Toronto.
Toronto, you need your passport.
Like I can't just give him my ID?
Nope.
But why?
You're going to a different country.
Really? How does that even work? Like that's so like insane to me. I feel like
Same continent, different country. It's fucking insane, bro.
dude. Okay, wait, hold on, dude. Can someone like fucking give me like a lesson? So what? Why do we need a passport? So we can travel all the country, but like
because
why,
we're going to Canada, eh?
Canada. But wait, who made that rule, dude? Access passport. Access passport.